This is Unit 8, and it's all about natural resources and hazards. We are going to look at the introduction and the major vocabulary in this unit. We'll be able to know what are natural resources and the hazards, what are the major hazards that we can have. The objective of this lesson is to look at what we are going to learn in Unit 8 and the major vocabulary for this unit. We have 4 lessons in this unit, and they are all about non-renewable and renewable resources. What are they used for, and how people can reduce the impact of land-based and water-based hazards. And at the end of this unit, we are going to have the review and the unit test. These are major vocabulary that we have in this unit. The first one is drawback. When we are talking about drawback, something that stops you is a problem, is a disadvantage. Example of that is in this picture. You can see that this is a big problem, the smoke, the heavy smoke. And look at the second picture. This is a very, very serious hazard. When we are talking about hazards, we are talking about things that can cause you harm. If you pour water on the floor, it's a hazard because it can make somebody to fall down and break his or her legs. So anything that can cause harm to you is a hazard. And we have some hazards that are what? Natural. That is, they are there naturally, created naturally. Nobody put it there. An earth process that threatens to harm people and property. We look at another one again, and that is, if you look at this picture, another one that is natural resource. Materials found in nature that people and other living things use. That's what we call natural resource. We found it in nature. They are there in nature, materials, not put there by anybody. And this is another example of non-renewable resource. When we are talking about the resources, we are talking about natural resources. The resources are divided into 2, non-renewable and renewable. When we are talking about renewable, we are talking that it cannot be replaced in a reasonable amount of time. The picture shown before, and that was the fossil fuel. This is another example, another vocabulary for this unit, and which is waste product. Waste products that damage an ecosystem. This is a very big problem too. Wow. This is a material that is useful for us, and it is called resource. A resource is any material that can be used to satisfy a need. As a student, what are the resources that you need to study? Those resources are your books, your textbooks, your pen, your bags, your lunch box. All these things are very, very useful for you to study. And they are what? They are resources for you. So any material that you have that can be used to satisfy a need, even your food, is a resource. Then we have another vocabulary, and that is renewable. You know, we talk about non-renewable. That is, non-renewable resources are those resources that cannot be replaced in a reasonable amount of time. That is, can take billions of years. But we have another example. These 2 pictures are examples of renewable resources. Wind, sunlight. The first one is about wind. The second one is about sunlight. Every day you have wind. Every day you see sunlight. You cannot finish using them. That's why we call them renewable resource. A resource that can be replaced within a reasonable amount of time. And that will take us to another aspect that we are going to look at today, and that is what non-renewable resources are used for energy. I will just do the introduction here, and the next presentation we are going to learn more about non-renewable resources that are used for energy. Now, oil. Where do we get oil from? Within the Earth's surface. And to remove it under the ground, we have to dig or even into the ocean floor. And this oil, many cars are using them as oil and gasoline. I want you to look at those images in the next slide to study more about how cars use oil and gasoline. You know, oil is a non-renewable resource, even our gasoline. This picture shows how we get oil from under the ground, under the ocean floor. Now look at the next slide. How these resources are used, even for all our cars. Study the pictures and caption to compare the cars. Look at this first one. I don't think we have this one on the road again, but we'll start from here. The look of cars has changed a lot of time. We cannot compare Bentley to this one. You can see that a lot of changes. So the way cars runs is also starting to change. Many of the first cars were steam cars powered by coal. So this is not using gas or oil. This car was using coal. Then the next one, can you guess what this car is using? You tried. So some cars today are designed to run on electricity. Why do you think we are seeing more and more hybrid and electric cars? When we are talking about hybrid, we are talking about some cars that can use both oil and electricity. I think we have more on our road now. That's another example too. What do you think this one is using? Try. Okay, you try it. This is very, very common. Probably this is an example of your car in the house. Most cars now still run on gasoline. Some run on diesel fuel, which is another fuel made from petroleum oil. This is very, very common now. I will look at another one. How many of you have seen this one before? This is going to be the latest technology. This is an example of cars, an example of car in the future that may not use gas, oil. They may depend on electricity or even the sun as fuel. What other resources might be also used to run our cars in the future? Can you guess? Try.